No. 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 What? No. There. The evidence room is beyond that door. And we have the ID card from Chief Gant. Let's just walk in. It won't open. Aha, the card reader's turned off, see? What is that security guard thinking? Howdy, partners. Well, well, what's made my Bambina sky so gray? Officer Marshall! Why does it have to be him? What's that why does it have to be him look for? As you may have surmised, here's my saloon. We're here to investigate the crime scene. Yeehaw! That card you got there on your chest. That's better than a sheriff's badge in these parts. Yeehaw? Well, what you standing there for? Get along, little doggies, the crime scene's awaiting. Looks like the card reader's on again. While we're here, I was wondering if we could ask some questions. Sorry, cowboy, but I got no mind to tangle with you, hombres. You're busy then? Did I say that? I only said I didn't wish to speak with you. Actually, you just said you had no mind to tangle with us, hombres. Alright. Bam. That smell. Ah, reminds me of Texas. So, Officer Marshall, you're from Texas? No, I just saw a special on television the other day. Is this from a baby? Yeah, Miss Starr. What's this? What's wrong? A filet steak lunch. I see, I see. I don't see. I wonder what it means. Alright, Bambina, you win. Ask him for anything. Finally, it seems like he's willing to talk. Alright. Officer Marshall, you're in charge of security for the evidence room, right? You got good eyes, partner. It's an easy job and I'm grateful for it. Actually, Officer Meekins at the detention center told us. Ah, that poor little doggy. Poor guy, I keep getting his name wrong and calling him Meekly. He told us something. He said that when the stabbing occurred, you weren't at your station. Well, maybe I shouldn't be telling you this, but since I got demoted from detective 2 years ago, well, I might not look it, but I lost my fire for the job, you know? So, what were you doing around 5:15 when the murder took place? Well, I reckon I was galloping down the highway on the back of my steed, Zippy. Nope, he was riding down the highway in his horse named Zippy. There's no need for people here anyhow. These newfangled machines do a bang-up job of keeping an eye on the place. You mean the security camera system? I don't take to machines much. Kinda like that stewed broccoli they sneak in next to your steak, you know? Miss Starr told us something. She said that you were a detective until 2 years ago. It was always my dream to be a rawhide wrangler on the scene of the crime. That's all gone now, like a drinking hole in a prairie fire. You're still investigating the SL9 incident with Miss Starr, aren't you? That was my case. It's all solved in the record books, but it smells like a bad game of poker. I can't let it go. That's all there is to it. What kind of case was it, anyway? I've heard the name so many times, but no one tells us what actually happened. There are some things you're better off not knowing, Bambina. Anyway, that case is officially dead as of 2 days ago. 2 days ago? The day of our case? That's right. The evidence transferals. Edgeworth was talking about the transferals, too. I know what maybe 2 of the machines in here do. Only 2 of them? There must be a dozen! Like I said, Bambina, me and machines, well, I like them about as much as I like stewed cauliflower as my steaks. The easiest ones to understand are these here security cameras. Those are the ones that Officer Meekins mentioned. If nothing happens, the tapes are automatically erased every few hours. And Officer Meekins and Detective Goodman, are they on one of those tapes? I reckon they might be. You're the security guard and you reckon? One more thing. When you go into the evidence room, you need an ID card. Thus the card reader by the door. The card reader leaves a record of every ID card that passes through. 5842189. 777777777. So this is the ID card record. Hey, I've seen that somewhere before. Sorry, Bambina, I can't show you more than that. Huh? I haven't heard whether this is related to the case yet. Mr. Wright, I saw a number on that record just now. I've seen that number before. Maybe there's some way I can prove that the record is tied to the stabbing. Sorry, but could you explain what this whole transferal thing is about? We keep only evidence from solved cases in this room. They're kept here under the presiding detective's supervision for 2 years. So we can reinvestigate them if it turns out there was a mistake, see? So what happens to the evidence after 2 years? It goes to sleep forever in the underground vault of the country sheriff's department. That's what we call transferal. Or the county sheriff's department, excuse me. We do it every February. I see now. Transferal is like a funeral for old cases. 2 years after a case is solved, it's closed forever. Dead. Never to be reopened again. Never to be reinvestigated. That happened to SL9 2 days ago. See this? This is the victim's ID card. Ah, the one that was on the ground in the parking lot? The number on this is 5842189. Officer Marshall, show us that ID card record again. 4299. Look, the fourth number, it's a perfect match. It was used at 514, right before the stabbing. What's more, there's only one of them cards in the world. So when the incident occurred, Detective Goodman was in the evidence room. But wait, what did Officer Meekin say? Sir, I entered the evidence room and asked the man to display his ID card. So you asked Detective Goodman to show his ID card. What did he do? He pointed a knife at me. If he had his ID card then, why would he have pointed a knife at Officer Meekins? Alright, compadre, you win. I guess I can give you this ID card record. Thank you. I've got an idea. Maybe I should show this list to other people with IDs here. Alright, evidence room. Here we go. It's quiet. The investigation must be over here. So this is the evidence room? It really is kind of like a graveyard. Graveyard's supposed to have grass and trees. This feels more like a morgue. Nice try, Mr. Wright. You can't scare me. Ah. Eek! Whoa! Sorry, I thought you were a ghost. I wouldn't recommend going around smacking ghosts on the head, pal. So is it true what I heard? Righto, please, do I look like a selfish man? Heck, if anyone asks for $50, go ahead, investigate the room and knock yourself out. Yeah, it's true. So, Chief of Police Gant. Will loan anyone $50? Even me? Oh, so that's what you were talking about. Actually, I was put in charge of the investigation for today. Just for today? Boss for a day. But guess what? You got permission from the chief, so now you're boss for a day. Gee, thanks. First of all, you'll want to have this. Okay. Evidence room floor plans. So, Detective Gumshoe, you're boss for the day? That's right, it's an honor. After all, the murder took place right here in the police department. But if you're boss, why are you all alone? Where are your underlings? They're using yesterday's findings to prepare for tomorrow's trial. In other words, you got kicked out of the investigation again. I'm adamant, though. I'm gonna take control and put this case to rest. My own evidence locker, pal. You have a locker in here too, Detective Gumshoe? Haha, of course. I am a detective after all. They give me a locker that only I can open, pal. Only you can open? I'll always believe in Mr. Edgeworth, no matter what happens. So, Mr. Edgeworth is with the Inquiry Committee now, right? They're trying to figure out who's responsible for the mess up in court today. I see. I guess this is what you call fate. Mr. Edgeworth just can't get away from that case. That case? Yeah, that case. The SL9 incident, of course. That was the beginning of the end for Mr. Edgeworth. Maybe we can get her to tell us more about the case. This place is more high-tech than you might think. Every locker is fixed so that only one detective can open it. Using their ID card? Well, that's the thing, pal. ID cards can be lost. Why, I'm on my 3rd card since entering the force already. That sounds like a lot. Yeah, but even I can't lose my own right hand. Right hand? Oh, you mean your fingerprint? Exactly, pal. The lock for each locker is coated with a fingerprint. So only the locker we can open is our own. The only locker we can open is our own. That's cute. He has a picture of Maggie Bird in there. We haven't met Maggie Bird yet, but it's cute. Funny, they look like normal lockers. These are the latest model. There's a trick to the handles, see? The handles? On the other side of the handles is a sensor, and if the wrong person touches it, zap! You get a shock! If that's what happened, my hand would be black and smoking every day. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people in the forest that don't know about the fingerprint locks. Did you take a look at this? This is the ID card record of the people who came in here on the day of the stabbing. Ah, I heard the rumors. So it was Goodman who came in here at the time of the murder. Whoa! What is it? That second number. It's not your ID number, is it, Detective Gumshoe? Mr. Edgeworth! What? The second number on this list belongs to Mr. Edgeworth. What? Oh shit. Why would Edgeworth have come to the evidence room? Oh shit. Well... Detective Goodman's note and that switchblade knife. I bet Edgeworth was the most surprised of anyone. Because of the SL9 connection? That was Mr. Edgeworth's first big case, you know, 2 years ago. That was the first time the world knew Edgeworth was a man to be feared. But why would evidence from that case turn up now? I guess it's not over, pal. Maybe there are some loose ends left on that case. And that was a bloody, violent case. Violent? So it was a murder? A serial killing. A serial killing. Maybe I don't want to get involved in this after all. The killer made a mistake, and Mr. Edgeworth built his case around that to nab him. And this was 2 years ago? That put Mr. Edgeworth right in the spotlight, and started the rumor mill. Rumors about forged evidence? It was supposed to be all cleaned up with the transferal the other day. It was the last job he ever did. Detective Goodman, that is. Huh? What do you mean? Detective Goodman was the detective in charge of the SL9 incident, see? So, the switchblade knife. The victim took the knife out of the evidence locker himself? Oh. Ah, the secret weapons. Remember that? Some sort of bulky equipment is gathering dust here. What a sorry-looking fishing pole that is. Ah, that's my personal pole. I never did get around to using it. Wait, I've seen that somewhere before. Right, pal, that's that metal detector. The one that led to the solvent of that case out in Gourd Lake, remember? Oh, right. Wow, that feels like it was ages ago. And... I don't think I've seen this one before. Oh, that's a bug sweeper. I'm sure it'll come in handy in solving some case sooner or later. That cheap-looking box? Can't judge a person or a machine by their cover, you gotta look at their heart. Alright. Wow, look at this big pile of junk in the corner. That looks like a car door. There's a pair of handcuffs attached to the frame. Maybe the guy they caught was some sort of escape artist and he got away. Hey, that's one of those human profiles for range testing. He's been shot square in the forehead. Better him than us. That's true, I guess. There's something sticking out of here. Looks like a shirt. I guess it must be evidence for some case. I wonder if Detective Gumshoe put this here. There you go, pal, making me out to be some kind of slob. I'm not responsible for the evidence here. That said, I bet that evidence locker was open recently. How do you know? If you leave things hanging out like that, the evidence gets dirty or ripped. Guard checks on that kind of stuff and notifies the detective responsible. How many times have I had him breathing down my neck about some silly evidence? Sounds like Detective Gumshoe leaves evidence hanging out a lot too. I bet he doesn't tuck in his shirt under that trench coat either. If you're gonna talk behind someone's back, don't do it right in front of them, pal. Oh. Alright. I know there's a lot here, but we've got important shit to do. Someone left a glove here, but only one. Detective Gumshoe, maybe? There you go, pal, making me out to be some kind of absent-minded detective. That's evidence from the case, you know. I mean, SL9 does have a tag on it. What's this? Blood. It's a little worn, but there's definitely a handprint here. Looks like someone tried to wipe it off. Mr. Wright! What if there are other blood stains left in the room? You should use your testing fluid to check it out. Alright. Hi, here we go. I knew it! This is someone's right handprint! What? What's the matter, detective? This locker! It's mine! It's yours? Please! You have to help me. When they come to take me away, promise you'll testify that I wouldn't harm a fly. You'll do that for me, won't you, pals? This is an important clue. I'll jot it down in the floor plans. I'm counting on you guys. Believe me, you can't trust the police. What? But you're a detective. Ooh. Hello. That must have been one massive pool of blood. Never seen anything like it. I'm not a professional. What's your opinion, detective? Pale blue blood. Maybe Detective Goodman was actually an alien. This proves that something really happened in front of this locker. I'll make a note of it on the floor plans. Hey, if you didn't want my opinion, you should have asked. Spraying. Ooh, hello. Why am I getting a reaction here? There's no reason for the murderer to touch the spot if he fled out the door. This just might be something significant. Hey, that's some pretty amazing stuff you got there, pal. What, this? It's called luminol testing fluid. Where'd you get your hands on that? Huh? I'd like to get some too. I'll just borrow $50 from the chief. Where do you get this, Emma? I always buy it by mail order. Probably better jot this down on the floor plans. Just checking to see if anything else has any blood on it. I don't think so. Right. No, don't want to move. See him in. Alright. What the fuck is this? Wow, someone must have broken something big to make all these pieces. Detective Gumshoe, perhaps? There you go, pal, making me out to be some kind of hooligan. That's apparently from the case. The case? The SL9, isn't it, pal? See the sticker on one of the pieces there? Another piece of SL9 evidence. Take a closer look. Why not? I wonder what shape these pieces were in before whatever it was broke. You want to try to put it back together? Ha! Good luck, pal. That's no job for amateurs. Why, I spent a good 3 hours on that before I had to give up. That's why I always carry on a tube of glue. Well, this piece looks like the bottom. Let's try putting the rest in place. Alright. Huh? Well, I think we did it, but some of the pieces are missing. Yeah, I got that far too in 2 minutes myself. The problem was finishing it. Were some pieces stolen? I bet they were missing to begin with. Still, it doesn't look like the most stable kind of jaw. I kind of understand how it got broken. Okay. Hey pal, look at the time. Was there something you need to be going to? It's just that Mr. Edgeworth's inquiry committee should be letting out soon. I'm gonna go give him my report for the day. Might help, you know. Report? You mean the note written on the back of that flyer? The one that says nothing but no problems? Hey, it's Mr. Edgeworth we're talking about. I'm sure he can use a report like this. I believe in him. Who needs enemies when you got friends like Detective Gumshoe? I'm off, pal. Later. Bye. I should probably see what Edgeworth has to say, too. Alright. Here. Ah, guess. My apologies. Oh, it's you. Have we met somewhere? Huh? Mr. Edgeworth, I beg your leave. So long. Is Edgeworth here? There, standing by the window, a teacup in his hand. That look. Right. He has the hotel bring him tea service? Mr. Edgeworth, you're back from the district prosecutor's office inquiry? I am. By the way, Detective Gumshoe was looking for you. Yes. He brought me the latest information, it seems. Really? Was it helpful? Apparently, a new French restaurant is opening near here. I think he was trying to console me somehow. The real info's on the other side, Edgeworth. Poor Mr. Edgeworth, I think this whole thing is really taking a toll on him. So, how did the inquiry committee go? Actually, they decided to treat this not as a case of concealing evidence, but as a communications error during the investigation. Concealing evidence? Yes, apparently there are some who believe that I concealed evidence. They gave me a warning. You were lucky this time. Again. Again? I've heard them say that so many times, ever since that case 2 years ago. Are you okay for the trial tomorrow? Well, I'm still the presiding prosecuting attorney, however. Something happened? They gave control of the investigation over to the police department. The police department? Yes. Any further investigation of this case will be directed by the Chief of Police Gant. I can do nothing but wait for his results. I see. Why, I ask you? Why? All along I've done only what I believe is right. I have nothing to be ashamed of. But still. Wow, I've never seen him this out of sorts. Alright. Oh, right, I better check this now. As I was saying, What's this? A record of ID card usage. Edgeworth, you went into the evidence room that day, didn't you? Just before the incident occurred, no less. Yes, that's true. Why, Mr. Edgeworth? Please don't look at me like that. I was asked to go, by Chief Gant, no less. Chief of Police? You wanted evidence for a case that wrapped up half a year ago. You told me you wanted me to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. But it was solved, right? It would have to be if the evidence was already filed. The chief is never one to explain himself. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back here. Can I ask what kind of case it was? I can't say. It really has nothing to do with the current case. Now I'm curious about this other case. I better make a note of it. Unrelated, huh? Stubborn as always. I told you this has nothing to do with the current case. I know you. You've probably got a hold of some information already, right? It all has to do with this case you were on, the SL9 incident. And some dark suspicion you were wrapped up in. You are the man who revived the worst memory of my life. I figured I'd be telling you about this sooner or later. He must be talking about his father's murder in that elevator. Okay, Edgeworth, why don't you tell me about it? Tell me the truth. The SL9 incident was a heinous serial killing case. The head of the investigation was the deputy chief of police at the time, Damon Gant. That wacky old coot was involved in the case 2 years ago too then. He was a top officer, and it was my first time working with him. I was nervous. Wow, you get nervous too, Mr. Edgeworth? What I want to know is why was the deputy chief of police on the investigation? In truth, I used slightly more extreme methods than normal. We were dealing with a vicious murderer. If I let him go, the blood would be on my hands. We won our guilty verdict and the killer was executed. Wait, you didn't... Of course not. I didn't touch the evidence. Yes, I will do anything in my power to win a trial. However, I do have a code and I follow it faithfully. By the way, Emma, the chief prosecutor wanted to know something. My sister? What? If you're still studying forensic science. Huh? Yes, of course. Why, just today Mr. Wright and I were using this. Luminol testing fluid. Well then, you might have use for this. Aluminum powder for taking fingerprints. It's been chemically treated for better adhesion. For me? Are you sure? We are the enemy, you know. I have no say in today's investigation. Do as you will. Edgeworth, I'm really attracted to you. No need to thank me. Here, take your powder and these fingerprint files for everyone involved. Thanks. How about giving these to Detective Gumshoe as well? Okay. Well, let's get going. One last investigation. Right. I do seem to remember seeing a suspicious handprint somewhere. Well, back we go. Investigation turned up a suspicious handprint. Here, this blood in the detective's evidence locker. Let's use the secret weapon we just borrowed. Right, let's get started. First, choose a finger. A finger? Each finger leaves behind a slightly different imprint. So let's choose the finger that'll have left behind the clearest print. I really can't tell the difference at a glance. Quit procrastinating and choose a finger! Okay, now it's time to check for prints. Let me show you how it's done. Emma's starting to get that sparkle in her eyes. First, we sprinkle the aluminum powder around. Huh? How do you do that? With A. It'll be A, not enter. See? Ah, it looks like that did the trick. The aluminum powder adheres completely to the print. Once the powder is well spread, just blow away the excess. Huh? How do I do that? With your breath, you dumbass! Exciting, I know. Imagine you're blowing out the candles in a birthday cake. See? Wow, that looks like fun. It might take some getting used to, though. It's fine, that won't go up your nose or anything. You just pour- It won't go up your nose or anything. You just pour the powder on thick and blow away the extra. Those are the basics of fingerprinting, Mr. Wright. Guess I better give it a try. Lay it on thick, baby. Woo! There we go. Ah, you did it! You found one! But this looks nothing like a fingerprint. Now that you mention it, I guess it doesn't. What does it mean? I think it means we're out of luck. Out of luck? The person who left this handprint must have worn gloves. Don't tell me we've been wasting our time here. Hey, calm down. That's just the way it goes sometimes with scientific investigations. But it does seem a shame. While we're at it, why don't we look for other prints? Other prints. Looking at the locker door again closely. It seems like there are fingerprints outside the bloody handprint as well. Let's see if we can find a clear print. Fingerprints outside the blood. Like this, perhaps? Here we go. Hey. Neato. Yay! A print so clear it's dazzling! Dazzling? Anyway, this print took a lot of effort to find. Let's match it up right away. So we're not done yet? This is quite a process. Well, there's no point in finding a fingerprint and not knowing who the owner is, right? I guess she's right. Look at the fingerprint data we got from Mr. Edgeworth, and point out the person you think left those prints. Huh? How am I supposed to know who it was? I can make a pretty good guess. The bloody handprint and the fingerprints are in different places, right? That means that the prints probably don't have anything to do with our case. So whose fingerprints would we most likely find in this evidence locker? Well... Ah! Mr. Gumshoe. You rapscallion. Aha! So these prints belong to Detective Gumshoe. Something wrong, Mr. Wright? You gave me this so what look. Guess it's probably because I was thinking, so what? Okay, so we came up with nothing this time, but there's always next time. Sometimes you hit, sometimes you miss. You gotta roll with the punches, Mr. Wright. Thanks for the sympathy. Wait, if I remember correctly, there was one other handprint in this room. Let's check it out. Examine. This is where we got a luminol fluid reaction, right? Right! There's a handprint here! Okay, wanna try using this? There go her eyes sparkling again. Yes, of course I'll check this. That's the spirit! Oh, but I have to warn you about something first. What? The area with the blood was wiped away, right? We only ended up finding it using chemical means. Any prints in that area will have been wiped away too. Oh, right. So that means no prints. Did you say the probability of your hypothesis is high? Don't ask me. Anyway, we must try to find prints that weren't wiped away. Prints other than the ones left by the bloody hand. Here. Oh, looky here. It's Mr. Marshall. Match found. Hey, these fingerprints, whose are they? Whose? Is it someone I know? It's Officer Marshall. Huh? Officer Jake Marshall? That's gotta be a coincidence. He's not involved in the crime. Emma. This is decidedly different from Detective Gumshoe's prints. The luminol reaction. The blood and the fingerprints are in the same place. Oh! Oh! So we have Jake Marshall's fingerprints on a wiped bloodstain. But why would Officer Marshall... It looks like our investigation is finally turning up some results. I guess this is what you call decisive evidence. I don't believe it. Well, we'll see what that means next time.